Joining us now for analysis on a very busy weekend of politics and scandal, Jack Pitney, professor of politics at Claremont McKenna College. Let's first talk about scandal, Professor. Thanks again for joining us. First, it was ex-Playboy playmate Karen McDougal. Now, tonight, it is porn actress Stormy Daniels. Her interview on 60 Minutes tonight, I know we both saw it. How will these accusations affect the presidency? Are these more moral issues, or are there legal ramifications as well?
Well, on the moral side, the reaction to the Access Hollywood tape gave us an indication. People heard that and they still voted for Trump. It's unlikely that the president's approval numbers are going to decline very much as a result of this. The question, the legal ramifications, what happens next? Are additional people going to come forward? For example, is somebody going to come forward and corroborate parts of the story that she told tonight? Is there going to be additional legal action? What is the president's lawyer going to do as a result of this? All of these could lead to consequences that could be very damaging for Trump.
But even if more people do come forward having affairs, they may be morally wrong, but it's not illegal.
The question is, what was an effort to cover up? Stormy Daniels talked about a physical threat. If there's evidence that comes forward linking the president to that, that is big trouble. So that's what separates this from other kinds of scandals. The possibility that there was some connection to physical violence, or at least the threat of physical violence.
Okay, let's switch gears here and talk about what happened yesterday. Hundreds of thousands of people, mainly kids all over the U.S. and the world, gathered for the March of Our Lives rallies yesterday, hoping for gun control. Do you think at this point something will actually be done?
In the short run, again, short run, long run. Short run, unlikely. You have Republican control of Congress, and the members representing districts with very strong gun rights presence really aren't changing their minds. But the question is, what next? Are the organizers of this march going to continue? The reason the gun rights people are so powerful is not the campaign finance, it's rather that they're organized, they're persistent, they're numerous. And if the people supporting gun control are as organized and persistent as the other side, things could change in the future.
And we know that thousands of kids already signed up to register to vote, so we'll see if that makes any changes. Switching gears one more time, the president has warned more shakeups are coming in his cabinet. His choice for National Security Advisor John Bolton is already facing criticism, and one pick to join the president's legal team, Joe DeGeneva, says he's not joining the team after all. So how are these changes hurting the presidency, if at all?
Well, start with the legal side. Trump is in a bad way right now. He's facing legal jeopardy from a variety of angles, and his legal team, frankly, isn't very good. Jay Sekulow is a media guy. He's not really a lawyer's lawyer. And Trump is having trouble securing good legal representation, in part because lawyers are afraid he's not going to pay them. And that's not a good position to be in. Now, as far as the National Security Council, John Bolton has a reputation for being very aggressive and also for being not a very good manager. He got terrible reviews from his time at the State Department and then at the United Nations. If that persists, chaos is going to increase rather than abate.
And more changes, according to the president, may be happening next week as well, so we will see. Again, thank you as always for joining us, Professor Jack Pitney from Claremont McKenna College. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.